So disclaimer as usual, whatever that's covered here will not be any financial advice. It's for educational purpose. It's still part of the how to catch the market bottom, but it's also more of if you want to buy into something low, right? You have to have correction. And of course, towards the last part, I'm just going to talk about some special deals, okay? All right, for those who don't know me, this is me. I'm not sure whether I look any different, but then a lot of you guys say I don't look any different. But anyway, that's me. I just came back from my exercise because if you know that in Singapore right now, in the morning can be really, really very hot. And that's why now I switched to exercise in the evening, okay? I do trade a lot and a lot of automations. So what am I very busy with? Because I'm developing the 100% full automation, meaning that to trade with AI, it's my specialty, but I wanted to develop one which is really good. So been spending for the past 8 months. Okay, started last year in October, made a lot of revisions, a lot of changes here and there. And for 8 months, I've been working on it already. All right. Well, then what do I like? I like to trade. I like to look at the charts. I like to invest. I like to basically I like everything of what I'm doing right now. So I'm very happy. Do I like to make money? Yes. It's good to make money. It's feel bad to lose money. But one of the things that coming to this age, because I've been training for a long time, but one of the things that coming to this age is I wanted to leave a legacy. Okay, meaning that starting from many years ago, my students been asking me, am I going to teach my children about this? Yes, I am. But instead of just teaching my children, I thought that it's good that if I can just teach it to you. I've been in this market for very long, so a lot of time experiences is something that can't be taught. All right. However, I think that over the course of sharing, I hope that I'll be able to pass you whatever that I've learned about the market so far. So this is my aim right now. Okay. But is it about making money? No. But however, I don't believe that there is free lunch. Okay. So of course I need to pay for my employees and my stuff. So therefore, yes, I'm charging. Okay. But my biggest aim is really, really to leave a legacy so that you can remember me. I mean, if you are sharing with your friends and talking about your experience, at least that, for that 1 second or moment, you can remember me. Okay. And automations is something that I really love because for automations, it's a dream, like you wish to be traveling, enjoying nice food and nice time with your loved ones. And at the same time, somewhere it's making money for you. Okay, so that is really something I've been doing and I want to do that. Now, the reason why I'm not taking my existing automations to you guys, because then in my existing automations, the risk profile is a little bit higher. Okay, meaning that I'm able to tolerate a lot more risk. So I know what I'm programming inside, how is it trading. So, in case that there's substantial drawdown, I'm able to still withstand it, okay, tahan it, right? But I know that for retail markets, I've been in this retail training for very long. They can't. So I have to work on the I can't let something have a huge loss. Otherwise, I will start to get complaints. So this is what I'm looking in the past 8 months, okay, to make sure that we don't have a huge drawdown, okay? So this is what I like to cover today. All right, if you do have questions, please let me know in the chat. But I've just been informed that Facebook streaming is not working very well. So you have to look at the YouTube streaming. I think the YouTube streaming is doing good, right? So if you can, just remember to hit the like button. Okay, there is a thumbs up button, right? To hit this thumbs up button means that people can watch this, meaning you like the session, right? And then people can watch this and then they get to know. Okay, all right, so if you can, just hit the thumbs up button. Now today I just want to talk about overbought, oversold. I know that you say, hey Binni, I already know what is overbought, oversold. All right, I know what is indicator, but this is really how I've throughout the years, it becomes a very quick check, becomes a very important clue to buy stocks at a low, or put it this way, not to be in a hurry to get in, because many times that you realize you thought that it's actually very low, right? The moment you click in, all right, and then it actually moved so much lower, and you say that you could just wait for a little while more before you buy. Okay, so if you can just add a little bit more things to help you check before you buy a particular stock, you would have just saved a lot of money. Okay, now before I moved on and before I talk about it, I mean, actually I'm still waiting for more people to join, because today the session is a little bit earlier. Usually I will start at 7:30, but today I start at 7. All right, just to talk about today, the session is initiated by 8cap. 8cap, it's the staff at 8cap, especially the partner manager that I'm working with, it's very enthusiastic to bring education to the clients. She and I talk about also organizing lunch or dinner session as a gathering to thank you guys, etc. I think that we still need interactions, etc. Right? So we start off with education with webinars. So today the session is initiated by ACAP. And I have to thank them because they've been supporting all these educational session. Okay. If you are interested and you really want to have a good trading partner, all right, you can explore ACAP. All right. They've been very good in supporting my community. All right. So let's go into overbought and oversold. Now, what I like is I like to use live charts, meaning that I like to take a look at right now. Okay, so later on, I'll be going to trading view, and later on, we'll be taking at the live charts. Okay, now, but before this, right, I'm just going to show you my slides here. Okay, because this is something that I prepare, and then to talk about how to use the overbought, oversold. Okay, now, let me explain the concept. And afterwards, right, I would go to trading view and talk about how to set the bottom indicator up, and it's RSI, but you can just replace with any indicator. Okay, it doesn't really matter whether you're really using RSI. I just thought that is one of the more common indicator. It's convenient to use. Okay, so there will be two main concepts that I'll be talking about. The first one is overbought, oversold. I know that overbought, oversold is something common, but a lot of people doesn't know the right way to use it. Okay, and the second one would be to talk about divergence. Okay, divergence, in my own preference, I like to use MACD, which is MACD. This is an indicator, but since we're here, I will just put in the RSI as a divergence. So remember, later on, I will be going to trading view to set up this indicator and show you how to set up the indicator later on. Okay, so we are going to focus here on the concept. That means on how to use all this concept. So first, overbought, oversold, and second, which is divergence. Okay. Now, so let me just explain overbought, oversold, right? So overbought means it's relatively expensive right now as compared to the past. Okay, so to know overbought, you would have to look at RSI, which is showing green here, anything that is above 70. Okay, now some are using above 80 as overbought, some are using below 20 as oversold. Okay, it doesn't really matter, right? That's just number. But to make it easy, anything that is more than 70, which is a static level, it's going to be overbought. It means that right now the price is more expensive than the price in the past. Okay, now then what is oversold, right? Oversold, you look at things that's at the bottom here, right? This is at the bottom. Now anything where it is less than 30, that means that if the line is less than 30, then it is considered oversold. Okay, in other words, right, the price right now is cheap or cheaper as compared to the previous period. That means to the past. Okay, now remember, it is always as a comparison to the past. All right, that means that RSI has a setting. Okay, the setting, right? And some RSI has a setting of, for example, RSI here, and some RSI has a setting of 7, or some will have a setting of 10, or some will have a setting of 14. Now, what this means is that if your chart is in a day, and let's say you have RSI 7, that means that now the price as compared to the past 7 period. What is period then? As 7 days, because right now the chart is a day chart, right? Then the price is considered expensive or cheap or cheap. Okay? For example, if RSI is 10, right? As compared to the past 10 period, the price is considered oversold or overbought, cheap or expensive. Okay, 14 means in the past 14 period. Now, the RSI can change because then, let's say if I were to switch this, right, from a week and then turn this in, from a day and turn this into a week, then it means that for the past 7 weeks, for the past 10 weeks, and for the past 14 weeks. All right. Now then, let's talk about the concept of overbought. Now, why is it that in TradingView, how come the overbought is coded as green and oversold is coded as red? So if it is not based on what I've been saying, for example, overbought means that it is expensive, then shouldn't it be a little bit of a red? Okay, why is it coded as green? Now, let me just explain this concept here. And I explained this to my community many times. Let's say, for example, you have a chicken, all right? And the chicken is, what is the average price of the chicken? Chicken is, let's say, I think $15, okay, 15, right? Singapore chicken, $15. I think it's 15, right? That time I just bought like one whole chicken. That was 12 or 13, fed with pineapple enzyme. I don't know whether that's good or not good, right? But at least I think that is not bad. You know, the oil that you cook, instead of just white color, transparent, that oil was yellowish. So I think it's better because it's different color oil. I don't know. But anyway, let's assume that's 15. Let's say, for example, everyone, after people eat this chicken, all right, you are going to have stomach ache. That means that every time you eat this chicken, you're going to have a very bad diarrhea. Now, when this happens, right, the price of the chicken drops. It drops to 12. Okay, not only that, right? And not only that, when you eat the chicken, you're going to find that you get fever and you're sick for a week. Okay, so then not only stomach ache, not only stomach pain, right? You're sick for a week, right? So the chicken dropped to $8. Now, if you compare the price of the chicken over this period of time, now the chicken gets cheaper, isn't it? All right. Now, then it also means that in terms of the RSI indicator, okay, the chicken gets more into the oversold situation. Correct? Because it gets cheaper and cheaper as I compared now to the past few weeks ago, or $15, the chicken is right now at half price. So it's probably get into this oversold situation. But you realize that when I tag this oversold, right, to the price here, Why is it that when it gets to oversold, supposedly it is cheaper, why is it that price keeps dropping and then the RSI keeps showing into the oversold situation? Okay, shouldn't it be oversold means that it is relatively cheaper? Shouldn't people be coming in to buy? Okay, now remember, the oversold is in comparison to the past period. So if the chicken keeps going down in terms of price, do you think that the indicator will get more and more oversold? Yes or no? What do you think? Yes, right? Okay. You will get more and more oversold until it could be one fine day the chicken can become negative, because then that's where people don't want the chicken. Okay. So you realize that in TradingView, when they quote that oversold, they actually quote it into red. It means that actually price gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. All right. So when people don't want the chicken, price can become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, such that it will result in the RSI becoming more and more and more oversold. So it will keep staying at the oversold region, which is below 30. Okay? All right? So oversold means that yes, it is relatively cheap or cheaper than the past. But cheap can get cheaper and cheaper, and it doesn't mean that oversold indicates that it is a time for you to buy. Okay? It just merely says that at this price here, it is cheaper than as compared to the past. Okay? So this is the meaning of oversold here. Okay? Any question here so far? Meaning that yes, I am looking to buy, but I would prefer to buy in a situation when price is oversold. However, when price keep getting lower and lower, or price doesn't escape, okay, doesn't get out of the oversold region, it doesn't mean that, it probably doesn't mean a good thing, because oversold can mean that price continue to behave still in the oversold region because people simply don't want this particular stock and they kept selling it down lower and lower. Okay, all right. So a lot of people say oversold, you are looking for a buy. Yes, true and not true. It really depends on the situation. It really depends on very much the trend. Okay, all right. If you don't have any questions, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this and explain the meaning of the overbought. Now, so when we talk about overbought, it will be this case here where it kept showing that it is green. Now, let's say, for example, you have the chicken again, right? So the chicken is selling at $15. Now, but when you eat the chicken became so powerful and so nice, you find that it kept going into oversold. Okay, why is it that it's already getting expensive, and why is it that the RSI kept going above 70 into the overbought region, and why is it that it prices will still keep going up and up and up? Now, why is that so? Imagine this chicken is 15, but every time you eat it, you will get younger by 10 years old. If you eat one chicken and you become younger by 10 years old, would you be interested to buy the chicken? To eat it? Yes, right? Because it's younger by 10 years old. So the price of the chicken will move up. Let's say from 15, it goes by 30. And 30, it jumped to 60. And 60, it goes to 90. Because it doesn't really matter. Because I eat one piece of chicken, I get younger by 10 years old. If I get 2 pieces of chicken, I younger by 20 years old. Not bad. All right. You get youth. It's something that all the emperors wanted and they don't have, but then you get it from this piece of chicken. So what will people do then? They will keep buying the chicken no matter how expensive it is. All right. So this will result in price getting more and more overbought. Okay. Keep going overbought. It keeps staying at above the 70 because it keeps getting more expensive as compared to the past, right? Now, why does it keep getting more expensive? That's only one reason, because people are interested to keep buying. When they keep buying, then price will keep increasing. Okay, until one point, right, they find that I eat 5 chicken, then what age would they be? Because let's say, for example, I'm 50. I'm not 50 yet, but then if I'm 50, all right, if I eat 5 chicken, then every 1 chicken minus 10 years, then 5 chicken become baby, no more already. So that's where people will stop eating that chicken. Okay, so you realize that in TradingView, they code it differently. When they get in the oversold region, right, oversold region, they code it into a red color. It means that actually price can get lower and lower. And we get into overbought region, they code it into a green color. It means that price can get more and more expensive, because then literally the overbought could be a sign where price is getting expensive, people are buying, and oversold could be a sign that people doesn't want the stocks and they kept selling and pushing the price down. Okay, now, but before this, let me just turn off my own video so that to make sure that streaming is better. But let's say, for example, if you theoretically take a look into the overbought and oversold region, all right, then yes, when you hit the overbought region, price is high. When you hit the overbought region, price is high. All right, but doesn't mean that when you hit the overbought region here, right, price cannot continue to go up. It did moved higher. Okay, so for example, when you hit the oversold region, price is indeed low. All right, when you hit the oversold region, price is indeed lower than in the past, but doesn't mean it cannot stop going lower. Okay, so to sum up, right, if you are looking to buy, yes, you want to look for RSI when RSI is in the oversold region. So in other words, right, yes, it is true, when it's oversold, you basically be looking for a buy situation. When it's overbought, you are looking for a sell situation. However, getting into the oversold doesn't mean that price will drop. It doesn't mean that price will drop. Okay, getting into the overbought situation doesn't mean that price will go up. All right, so I hope that you understand this concept here. Any question? Later, I will piece this together and then we talk about how to apply and how to buy the M7 at a cheap price. Just like to know whether you have any questions, or everything all properly explained already. You are okay with the concept? Okay, you are okay with the concept, and then let's continue. Now, let's talk about divergence. Okay, what if you were to get the RSI indicator and then you put in this divergence? You just have to click the button and then it will show you the divergence automatically. You have a bullish divergence here, meaning that is a bullish situation. And then when you have the bearish divergence here, it means that this is a bearish situation. Okay, now divergence, as the name suggests, must be paired with price. That means that you cannot just look at divergence and then say, oh yeah, divergence shows bull, let me just go buy. Okay, or divergence say bear, let me just go sell. Not like that. Okay, now you have to look at divergence together with price. Okay, so let me just give you the formula to do it. Right, so bullish divergence is a sign to say that I'm looking to buy. Now, what the bullish divergence said is this, this was a drop in price. So this was a drop in price, right? Where the RSI is showing it. Okay, and it's dropping at a speed of, let's say for example, 60 kilometer per hour. All right, now this is also a drop in price. Okay, now when you have a bullish divergence, it means that the next drop in price, it is dropping at a slower rate as compared to the past. Okay, what is a slower rate? Yes, it is still dropping, but probably this time round is dropping at 30 km per hour. Okay, now if you take this and go back up, you see price, right? Price is indeed dropping. It's dropping probably at a steeper rate, 60 km per hour. But if you take this and compare to the price movement, it's still dropping. But this time round, it's probably dropping at a more gentle, slower rate, which is 30 km per hour. Now, why is that so? Both situation, price are dropping. It's just that the second time when price is dropping, as compared to the previous time, it is dropping at a slower rate. Okay, hence, right, when price both touch the low here, the same low, they're still dropping, right? Then there is a divergence in terms of the momentum. So what the RSI is measuring, all right, is measuring the momentum. Okay, so both of them, or both occasion dropping. It's just that the rate, which is the momentum of dropping, is different. Now, why are we measuring the rate of it dropping? It has to do with very much our human behavior. So, for example, I explained this from car. So, when you are driving, how do you, when you are about to cross the road, how do you know that you can get ready to cross the road? Is when the car starts to slow down. Okay, it's the same thing as car. When you're driving and you are about to make a U-turn, right? And then what are the signs that you can make a proper U-turn? Or what do you always do before you make a U-turn? Before you make a U-turn, you always do one thing, which is to slow down the car. Same thing, right? If price is going to make a U-turn, for example, this turn, U-turn to go up, what price will have to do is you have to slow down in terms of the drop. That means the rate of it falling must slow down. So it's the same thing when the car is going to U-turn, all right? Then the car will have to slow down. Then you know that you will successfully U-turn. Same thing as prices. If it's dropping, you have to drop at a slower rate. Now, the slower rate is caused by what? It's caused by seller not too enthusiastic to sell anymore. That means that they don't have a lot of fear. Maybe previously, there's a lot of fear. All right, they're scared of something. So they are very enthusiastic to sell. Okay, but again, when it comes to a certain price level, the enthusiasm not too strong anymore. They are not too interested to sell aggressively. All right, so this will give us a clue that price is about to turn. So when you see the bullish divergence here, all right, what we usually do is to take this start of here, right, start of this divergence, all right, to map it up to price. So this is a price low. Okay, now we take this, all right, and to map it up to the price low, we realize that price hit the same low, right? Okay, same low, right? And this bullish divergence means that when price first tested the first low, so this is the first low, it is falling at a 60 km per hour. When it's testing the second low, it is actually dropping at a slower speed. Hence, this change in the momentum. All right. This suggests that this gives us a clue. The key thing is it's giving us a clue to say that price is going to turn. Okay, so this is a bullish divergence to telling us a clue that price is about to turn. Okay, but it is a clue only. We will only know that it is about to turn or it has turned up only when it breaks a resistance level. Okay, meaning that how do I know that it has already U-turned? Oh yeah, when it's at the other side of the road. Same thing. How do I know that price had already U-turned after a bullish divergence? Oh yeah, when it's crossed the other side of the price level. Okay, that means it's no longer being resisted. It has already broken above resistance. Okay, so this is how it goes. All right. So bullish divergence, what am I looking at? Yes, I'm looking at people buying, or people are interested to buy the stocks, but I only be able to confirm the bullish divergence only when price had closed above a resistance level. That means that it must break a resistance level. Okay, this is a resistance level here. All right, now there are various forms of bullish divergence. What I've shown you here is where price is hitting the same level, it shows a bullish divergence. All right, now it can also be where price is making a lower low. So this is price and make a lower low. All right, so price make a lower low, and then you see a bullish divergence. But please remember, when you see the bullish divergence in trading view, it is always slow. That means that maybe around here, you will start to see the bullish divergence appear. Okay, you probably won't be able to see the bullish divergence as it is here. All right. Hence, trading view, it's still a little bit slower. You need to be able to recognize the bullish divergence. Okay, meaning they say, oh yeah, when price is again back into the same level, are there any sign of it having a weakening momentum when it retested back into the same level again? Then you check whether there is a bullish divergence. If you wait until trading view plot out this divergence, you will be slow. Okay, it won't come out so fast. It won't come out at this point of time. All right, Ken? Okay, all right. Now, so remember, if I share with you, right, in my earlier sessions, in my earlier webinar, I said that, okay, we bought into Tesla here, right? When Tesla was about 280, and then you went to 360. Okay, and then how do I know that I'm about to buy, or what are the clues to give me clues of buying the Tesla? Although I didn't buy Tesla right at the low, but I was able to tap into this region here. All right, so this was the price I tapped in. Yes, bullish divergence gave a clue. Okay, all right. Okay, next. Any question before I move on? Just take a sip of water first. Okay, no questions. Let's continue. Now here I have a bearish divergence here. So this is a bearish divergence, right? As you can see, you realize that if you map in the high point and a high point, and then the other high point, and then the other high point, right? What price basically did was it moved higher. Okay, it moved higher, but the indicator actually moved lower. So if indicator RSI is a measurement of momentum, what it says is that when price moved up in this stage here, it's moving at a faster rate, which is maybe at 60 km per hour. Okay, now when it next attempted to move higher, okay, yes, it did, it moved higher, right? But the speed of it, okay, is probably moving at a 30 km per hour. Okay, yes, the second time that it moved higher, it actually went higher. But if you take a look at from the RSI point of view in terms of momentum, all right, where it is on a declining momentum, it means that the second time that price moved up, it moved at a lesser speed. Okay, that means the rate of acceleration is so much lesser. So same thing, right? If price movement starts to get lethargic, then it's just a clue to say that it might be about to turn down. Okay, might be about to turn down. All right, so this will give us a clue to the momentum, and the momentum has to be only confirmed. Sorry, the momentum has only, I didn't intend to move. The momentum can only be confirmed if price, all right, turns back down. Okay, so remember when Trump and Elon Musk had an argument, all right, so it caused this huge movement down, right? Okay, in a day, in a night, night of trading. Okay. But if you take a look from the RSI point of view, there was already clue to suggest that Tesla was heading up at a weaker pace. Okay, so I was able to short into Tesla before, all right, the drop. That means that I was able to short into Tesla at this because the price itself had already given a clue to say that, oh yeah, Tesla is weak here. Okay, all right. So this is how to use the bearish divergence. Meaning that if you are going to short, let's say a stock, right? Then you would want to look out for an overbought situation. All right. Ideally, if you can see a bearish, divergence. All right. So this is what you want to see. Now, if you are looking to buy, then what you want to see is you want to see a oversold situation, and potentially you want to have a bullish divergence. Okay. However, just looking at the indicator is not enough. What you have to do is you have to confirm that the support level here, that means that when price is at the low, right, this is a support level. That means that this is a level that people are interested to buy in. So this is a support level. Likewise, when you are looking at an overbought situation and a bearish divergence, you have to check that this level here is a resistance level that people are interested to sell, or there is a reason why all these are coming, are showing. That means that what I'm trying to say is that the bearish divergence does not happen for no reason. It must be that people are seeing something, and hence they are slowing down in terms of their purchase. Likewise, okay, at the bullish divergence, people must be interested in that price level, or they think that that price level is attractive. All right, that's why they are slowing down in terms of the sell. Okay, so in other words, right, if you are using the concept of indicator, or if you are using the concept of divergence, all right, you must always pair it with price. Okay, if you are not too successful in using divergence, or you're not too successful with using indicators, then there's only one reason: you have not looked at price. Okay, you didn't look at the price support resistance level, or you didn't look at the price trend. Okay, any question here before I moved on? If you want, you can re-watch the session. All right, you can re-watch this session, and then it's once after I finish streaming, you can just use the same YouTube link and watch it, because it's immediately available. All right, you can send to your friends and let them watch it as well. Okay, for those who have just joined me, thanks a lot for joining. I've finished with the explanation of the overbought oversold and finished with divergence. I'm just going to move on to how you apply this to buying M7 or any stocks at a cheap price. I'm just going to share with you how I do that. All right, before this, appreciate if you just hit that thumbs up button on YouTube so that more people can watch it later. Okay? All right, so let's take a look live here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one more, which is tag. Okay, tag is the system that I've designed that gives me the price level. It's a very, very powerful system that I use it, and my community use it to trade, go to trade the indexes, to trade FX in low time frame, like 1 hour, 4 hour, the day, and we use it for stocks as well, and we use it for anything in any time frame. Okay, whether it's some of them are using it in 15 minutes, 1 hour, some of them use a day, I use it in a week, I use it in a day, I use it any time frame. Okay, so let me just talk about this one here. First, let's talk about how to set up your RSI. Okay, you go to the one here that shows indicator, the one that shows the chart here, right? Click on this and then click search under the search, right? Click on RSI, and then you see this RSI index, right? You don't need to go to the divergence indicator. You just go to RSI index, click on that, and then you see this here, right? How to turn on your divergence indication. Just go on the RSI here. All right, you see this tick here. All right, click on calculate divergence. Okay, so it just show you. All right, calculating divergence is needed in order for divergence alert to fire. So you can have divergence alert as well. You just click on calculate divergence. All right. Then the second question is that a lot of people ask Binni, which RSI length do I use? Usually I just keep to 9, or if you want, I mean, you can just go on the 14. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to put it like 5 or 7. You don't want it to be too fast, because if it's too fast, it's giving you a lot of noises. The most important, right, is that RSI is just an indication. It is not the most important thing. It just gives you some clues, right? You still have to read it together with price. Okay, all right. So this is the setting that I'm using. If you do have questions, let me know in the chat box. If you are okay, just give me an indication that you are okay, and then I can just proceed further. Okay. All right. Now, what you see here are the tech lines, okay, tech levels, okay? So these are the tech levels which are designed by myself. And of course, if you get Tor Pro, you do have the tech given to you, okay? So later, give me some time. I'm just going to talk about the Tor Pro deal, right? Okay, so how am I using this? Okay, I just share with you the short trade, that means the sell trade that I did recently. Okay, the sell trade was somewhere around here, correct? Before it dropped, that means I was able to short it in already, right? Okay, so as I mentioned that it is only after a while, right, that the bearish divergence will come out. Okay, that means that, meaning that you see that it was pointing to this top, right? And you thought that you're able to see this bearish divergence at the top. No, it doesn't happen this way. Okay, if you run the data, you're probably going to see it only somewhere around here or here, much later. Okay, now to sell at the high, you need to pair it with only one thing, which is price. Okay, so for me, you want to catch this huge move. Okay, let's say for example, you want to do like 340, 350 to 280, just round off for simple calculation, right? To 340 to 280, that's the $60, right? You have to go to only one time frame, because for me, when I do stocks, I will just use the day time frame. Okay, but then when you talk about FX or when you talk about indexes, it's a different time frame already. But for stocks, okay, I will do a day time frame, and then if you see that, okay, the bearish divergence coming in, all right, most important, you flip to the higher time frame. You go to one time frame higher, right? Go one time frame higher. So it's a day, you go one time frame higher, which is a week, right? And you check for only one thing, because you saw a bearish divergence here, or you suspect that this is a bearish divergence, okay, you only need to do one thing, check for one thing. Is there any resistance there? You want to know that there is a resistance over there, because bearish means that you want to short, right? You only need to look out for, are there any resistance level out there? Okay, all right. So one question is that, do all the platform have this divergence indicator? I coded one for the MACD in MT4. All right, so it also shows the divergence. I believe that most of the platform would have the divergence. If they don't have, then you have to look at it yourself. Okay, that means you have to be able to manually spot it. All right. Okay, so that means that once I see this bearish divergence, you don't need to be too quick and fast. Okay, don't need, right? You just have to go to the higher time frame and you say that, okay, around here, is there any resistance level? You have to find resistance level. So for us, all right, for tech, yes, there was a support, okay, that was broken. So this support was broken and then price went back up, hit that resistance level. Okay, so this was a resistance level here, all right, and then that was the reason why I went short. Okay, later on I will talk about how to buy. Okay, so this was a resistance level. Okay, now are you able to find this resistance level? I'm actually not too sure. Okay, because this is tech, by tech meaning that we have a different way of calculation. But basically this says is that when price broke this green line here, it means that this uptrend was actually gone already. Okay, so for us, that price retested up here and it becomes a short. But if you look back, right, because I wrote about this also in my Telegram. Okay, if you can, please go and join Telegram. I'll send you the Telegram link later on. This look back, you realize that here, and here, right, was also a cluster of resistance. It's just that it's not that obvious, okay, because you do have various levels. For example, you know, if you do like theoretical, do the historical support resistance, right? So this was a resistance, and then maybe it's become here. It doesn't get this level here, okay, and then you get somewhere around here as a resistance, and then get somewhere around here as a resistance, okay, but you don't get this level. So in order for you to use the divergence in RSI, all right, you have to spot it in the lower time frame, all right, and then flip to the higher time frame to see whether you can find any resistance level. Okay, so this is how you want to use it. Now likewise, let's say for example, you see this one here, right? What is this pointing here? It's pointing to a bullish divergence, meaning that here, right, the indicator is overbought, sorry, it's oversold, all right, and it is showing you a bullish divergence. Okay, what it means is that when you go to the higher time frame, which is what time frame? I'm just going to test you, right? So right now I'm in the day, right? When I say higher time frame, what time frame is that? Just wait for your response so that to check that you understand while I drink some water. Okay, what time frame is that? Let me know in the chat. Very good. It's a weekly time frame. Yeah, you go to the weekly time frame, right? And you should see. You should find. You must find. You must see. Okay, if you don't see, then it's not good. That means that you cannot go and I see a bullish divergence here, and you say, oh yeah, I'm sure that I can find something, and you just go and, you know, like imagine there is a price level. You cannot. It must be so obvious to you that there is a bullish divergence. There is a support level in the weekly time frame. You cannot imagine it. You must see it. It must appear to you. All right? And ideally, right, you realize that in both situations, in the sell, okay, in a sell situation, your RSI is actually very much nearer to the overbought region. That means that it's nearer to the high, okay? In this situation, when there was a bullish divergence, the RSI is actually very much near to the low, okay, which is at the oversold region. All right? Now, you see that what tech had, right, was that it showed a support level here. Okay, so it was a resistance level, but the resistance level was broken and it came back down in the support level. Okay, you can just take this tool here like this, all right, and then just roll back, right, to see whether there will be any levels that you're gonna have, okay, like historical levels, right? It must be so strong to see it. Okay, now one of the question is that can you use the MA as a resistance level? Yes, you can, but a lot of time, right, sometimes the MA cannot catch up. Okay, and also has to do with which setting of MA, because MA, right, usually is something like that, you know. Sometimes it cannot catch up. Okay, sometimes that when you have a too low a MA setting, right, so it might be like that, so MA doesn't provide a resistance here. Okay, so it would be best, right, if you use horizontal level. I mean, tech levels is the same, is the best for me, for us. If you don't have tech levels, you must be something where I can see it very strongly. Okay, most of the time when you have a tech levels, it points to also a very strong levels where the signals sort of gel up together. Okay, so let me just sum up, because later on we're going to take a look at the all the M7s, right, to see whether there's any buy or sell signal right now. Okay, basically you don't only look for a divergence at the day. You don't only look for divergence at the day, right? You don't. Okay, you can look out for also a overbought, oversold. Okay, for example, this one here, right? That means this place here was an sold situation. Okay, it doesn't have a divergence. Okay, all right. So just now I was talking about divergence, but basically I said OS plus divergence. Okay, that means that you can individually use only OS. So let's say, for example, you want to buy. The whole idea is that you go to the day, all right, you look out for a divergence here, or you look out for an oversold. Okay, let's say, for example, I want to sell, right? You go to the day and you look out for an overbought situation, or you look out for divergence. Okay, or bust. They both come at the same time. But what is most important, okay, what is most important at the point where you see the overbought, oversold, you must be able to locate a price level. That means that if you really, really want to buy cheap, very good stocks, right, you have to flip it to the week, and you must be able to see the price level. Okay, so for example, right, previously when I shorted and I took out, that means I took profit, right, of this position. I didn't buy in Tesla here. Okay, I just let you know that I didn't buy in Tesla, but I just used this price level to take profit, because when I saw that price went into the oversold region, so it's relatively cheaper, and then it hit a support level. So this was a resistance level that turns into a support level, right? And because of this, I actually use this as a clue to close out the trade. That means that if I don't close the trade, if I don't take profit the trade, right? So if I sold at, let's say, 340, if I don't close at 280 and I close it right now, I mean, I don't really have a lot of meat left. You know, maybe that I might just close it at the high here. So it could be a break-even situation. So because of this into the oversold region, and because it's at the support level, I actually use it to close. But because it's not shown as a price level in the week, then I didn't use it as a clue to buy. Okay, all right, but I bought it back to close my short. Okay, so to sum up, right, if you really want to get something cheap, then the only clue to do that is you have to go to the week to spot for that price level. That means in a week, right, you must be able to see that it is at a certain price level very clearly. Okay, all right, any question here? Okay, now no question. What I like to do is, for example, to go through the M7, and then if, let's say, for example, you don't want to own the stocks, then you can short the stocks using CFDs. So for example, a lot of brokers like ICAP, right? They have CFDs of the M7, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, etc., right? So you say, okay, I don't want to own the stocks, and I saw that this is a bearish divergence. Can I use the CFD to sell? Yes, you can. So for example, I just want to mention about the price of the CFDs, right? So ICAP doesn't have a fixed rate. So a lot of CFDs provider, they have a fixed rate. So regardless of how much that you trade, they always have a fixed rate plus a variable rate. So it's a fix here. Let's say the fixed rate could be $10 fixer, regardless of how much you trade, plus a variable rate. Okay, variable is a percentage of how much you trade. So for ICAP, it's very straightforward. What they do is that you can trade as little as one share. So one share, the price, the cost of trading one share is 0.02 USD. Yes, 0.02 USD. Okay, the cost of trading one share. Now it means that, let's say for example, you would like to trade 100 shares, okay, of Tesla. So the cost is 2 USD. Okay, now if you want to open, it's 2 USD. If you want to close the trade, it's another 2 USD. All right, for 100 shares, and then the total is 4 USD. Okay, so it's one of the provider that has tight spreads for the CFDs, which I find, and at the same time, their cost is very affordable because you could just do like 2 shares or 10 shares to tap into the opportunity. Okay, just get started on a small sizing. All right. Okay, so let's say for example, we talk about Nvidia. Okay, slowly we talk about Nvidia, right? Okay, now as I mentioned, right, we start off always, right, at the day chart. Okay, if you want to buy it at a cheap, right? So there are few occasions where Nvidia, let me just expand this a little bit more, okay? There are few occasions, right, where Nvidia is at the oversold area here. You see this? Oversold. You see this one here? Oversold. Okay? Now, each time when it gets into the oversold, was there a rebound in price? The answer is yes. Okay? Now, because why? Because I want to explain this also. I want to cover all grounds. Because at the end of the day, the RSI as an oscillator is dependent on the previous price. So if you choose a stock, let's say for example, what stock? You choose a stock, right, that is perpetually going down. Okay? So then even when you, which is a downtrend, right? So even when you have this bullish divergence, you realize that by just buying here, it just move up a little bit and very soon, zoom, it goes. Okay? So when you apply what I've shared here to M7, what is that unique characteristic of M7? Okay, M7 unique characteristic is that you flip to all the stocks. For example, all of them is still very much in an uptrend. Can see this? Meaning that because I said that how to buy M7 at a cheap price, right? Because M7, all of them, right, has a common characteristic. What are the common characteristics? All of them in an uptrend. Therefore, you can freely use this method on M7. You won't find it wrong. Until now, it's true because it is in an uptrend. Meaning that if you were to apply this method in a downtrending stock, it won't work. Okay? Because you still need to make sure that when you buy, you want to buy in an oversold situation when price is in an uptrend. Okay? So for example, let's say you look at here, right? At the RSI, when at the oversold, price moved up quite significantly. At the RSI oversold, price still moved up, and even here at the oversold here, you see oversold here, if you were to buy basically at the oversold, price still moved up. Okay, so there is a difference here between how we use this method in M7 versus the other stocks. You basically have to find one that is in an uptrend. So if it's in dub, right, then you only apply this in the M7 because they are very much intact in an uptrend. Okay, they are uptrending stocks. Okay, the reason why I want to emphasize this a lot is because, as I said, this you apply that in the M7 because it's an uptrend. Okay, so in other words, right, if you are looking to buy Nvidia again, then can I ask, is right now a good place to buy Nvidia? Yes or no? Question to you, is right now a good place to buy Nvidia? Your answer would be no. Okay, now why is it no? Because it is not at the oversold region yet. Okay, so it is not at the oversold region. All right, because it is still very much at the high yet, right? You don't have that opportunity for you to buy in when it gets into a discount. Okay, so the answer is no. Now, was each of the occasion, all right, giving you a good chance to buy? The answer was yes. Okay, the answer is a yes. Previously, it was a good chance to buy each time into Nvidia because this is still very much in an uptrend. Okay, it's an uptrending stock. Okay, so you can use this method to buy. All right, so in other words, right, let's say for example, one fine day, if you start to see your RSI heading towards the oversold region, then you want to open your eyes already. Why is that so? Because that's when you find that this oversold is giving you an opportunity to buy at a slight discount or at a discounted price. Okay, now, but one thing I shared before, you really want to catch that really very good price, then you will have to go to the week. Okay, you want to go to the week because week is the place that you want to pay a lot more attention to. All right, a lot more attention to. For example, I can share with you, right, in the week, right, there was this bearish divergence. Did Nvidia drop? Yes, it did. Did the bearish divergence work out? Yes, it did. Okay, then even as price continue to go higher, right, go higher, okay, go higher, right, then the RSI actually continued to do a bearish divergence, but it's just that the indicator never picked it up. Okay, and was there a zoom? Yes, it did. Okay, now so you want to go to the higher time frame, which is the week, right, to go and find a strong level. Let's say for example, for us, right, tech indicated a strong level here. Basically, this was that strong level that tech indicated, so there was the buy around this place. Okay, so if I were to take this and then put it here and then you go back into the day, you realize that this level here, which tech indicated, correspond very well to the bullish divergence and oversold. All right, and then around here correspond also with the oversold situation. All right, so this is what we need to have. That means we need to go to the high time frame, all right, to go and find a strong level. Okay, so for example, under the week, when you have that oversold situation here and then somewhere around here, right, you know that generally this is still an uptrend. This is a very good place to own the M7. So in other words, right, let's say for example, Nvidia drop, boom, you don't know where it's going to go. Then what are you going to look up for in the day and in the week? You're going to find and try to look for RSI in the oversold region. Okay, because this is an uptrend, it will generally work very well. You want to look for that oversold. Now, I also want to caution a little bit. All right, this is something where probably maybe next time. If I have more time, I want to explain this. Okay, sometimes RSI need not enter the 30 or 20 region. Okay, sometimes RSI itself has its own historical level that we can monitor. Okay, in other words, right, I will start to monitor NVIDIA for you guys, for my community, when NVIDIA RSI hit this level. That means that when it's at this level, and I just have to check whether tech draw any level, all right, in a weekly chart. If it does, then I would be monitoring the trade for you guys. Okay, so this is what I'll be doing, okay, in my community. So in this case, is this time to buy into NVIDIA? Question? What do you think? Is it time right now to buy into NVIDIA? Yes or no? Based on whatever that you just learned. What do you think? Let me know. Is this the right time to buy into NVIDIA based on what you just learned about RSI? I know that the answer is universal. The answer is no. Very good, right? And I can see that you're responding no already, because then it is not near to the lower level. Okay? All right, but I just want to bring up one thing, Just bring up one thing, okay? For those in my community, for those with tag, all right? You see this red color thing here? 14485. You see this red color level here? Okay, so this is the optimal level that is being drawn by tag automatically. All right, it says that this is the resistance level that we predicted. So I mean that we are going to watch this level, because here we have a weekly level, right? We have a weekly level. Okay, we're going to watch this level, all right, to see whether in the lower time frame there is going to be a bearish divergence, or there are going to be clues, right, where it's actually heading down. Okay, because then in tech, it's already into the very strong resistance level for NVIDIA. All right, I mean, is that if you are looking at NVIDIA, I know that this is a cluster of resistance, right? We are looking at this as a resistance level, because there's a level there's a resistance level that's being drawn by tech, and then there is a bearish divergence here. Yeah, I mean, I'm noting this level. I'm gonna see how it goes, just waiting for a little bit of price action. Yeah, so one question about how about buying because of the breakout. You can buy on the breakout, but just one thing to share a little bit also is that, let's say for example, you think that there's a resistance level here, it's gonna break out, but I wouldn't say all the time, I say a lot of time, right? Before it breaks out in the lower in the time frame here, right, price would sometimes, right, correct to build up a little bit, and that's where this correction, flat, especially when it's a flattish correction, right, will lead to the RSI going down very quickly, because the price went flat, right, but it's a measurement of to the past period, so it can go down very quickly. So if you do see a flattish correction, all right, a gentle correction, I won't say flattish, but maybe a gentle correction, right, and then it went near to the oversold region, this is a very, very strong indication that price is going to break out. Okay, so what I usually do is I'll just buy around here, not in the point of breakout. Or maybe that if I will do a trade management, maybe I'll do just half here and half here, something like that. Okay, all right, yeah, okay. We can check Apple. I mean, no issue, we can just check along the way, because all these are all the live drawing, or rather live plots, right, of tag and then of the price, and I like to discuss it live. Okay, like for example, we don't really see much RSI indication here, all right, in terms of it being overbought, oversold. All right, so that's literally nothing here in Apple for us. Okay, but then if we can flip that into a higher time frame, all right, we know that there's this key level for us here, this key level here, right? Okay, which is a resistance level, but it just never moved up. So for Apple, we don't have any more levels anymore, all right? But one thing, when you see in the past, right, every time the RSI goes to the oversold region, okay, to the oversold region, there is one key level that kept popping up. Okay, what is that key level? At the oversold region, it's here. At the oversold region, it's here. That means that what the market is actually looking at this at a very important level. Okay, in other words, right, I mean, if you want to buy M7 cheap, you want to see that price goes down near to this region, okay, and then you want to check that your RSI is again near to the bottom. You want it to be together. You don't want you want them to confluence. Okay, so same thing, right? You get a clue. So RSI oversold here, and then this was where there was a rebound, and this was where there was a rebound. In other words, you want to assume that you want to buy it cheap, right? There's no other places except this level here, okay, at 165, 170 plus minus around that level. And what is the one thing that you want to look out for? You want to look out for the RSI getting into the oversold, or you want to wait for the RSI showing a bullish divergence. Either a bullish divergence or either an oversold also can, reaching the same level. But then, as I said, you must always to go to the higher time frame to spot that level, and this is that level here. Okay, all right. So in my course, right, as long as you are in my community, all right, the whole thing is about leaving a legacy. I like to share with you what I'm seeing. Okay, this is all how we build wealth together. So I'll let my students know that this is what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing, and I'm monitoring for them. Then when it's at that junction, all right, at that level, then I will talk about it again. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at basically. So if I'm conducting a lesson for my students, I will be talking about this. Okay, all right. Amazon, let's continue. Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, I'm just gonna use another price feed, which is the Amazon price feed here. Just hang on for a while. Here we go. Okay, so this is Amazon price feed, huh? All right. Same thing. We start off with the day. Okay, so we start with the day, right? So Amazon is near to the overbought region. Overbought region. All right. Okay. Now, you can see that there was various bullish divergence around this level here. Dong dong. Okay. So when you switch this into the week, right? You see, this was that place, but it was very clear that this was a support level here. Okay, and what happened to RSI? RSI went into the oversold region. Okay, so let's say, for example, you can see that each time it went to the oversold or the low, right? It was around this region here. Okay, so same thing, right? My question is, right now the time to buy into Amazon? Yes or no? Is right now the time to buy into Amazon? I think your answer is very clear. All right, it is not. Okay, but generally, as I said, right, this method works very well on the overbought oversold because it is trending up. Okay, so in future, when you do see, for example, the RSI entering into the oversold region, okay, then you want to check that price is near to a key level. Like for example, Amazon, at that point where it went oversold, it was near to this high here. So although that is not a very pretty thing, right, where it stays nicely supported, but we know that there was a resistance level, then turns into a support level, turns to a support level. When you look that back, then you know, oh yeah, I want to check for that oversold. But again, as I said, historically, the oversold seems to be here. That's where price bounce up. All right, seems to be here. That's place where bounce up. And then this was one of the extreme level. That's where place bounce up. So I will start to monitor for the RSI if it can get near to this region here, like that. Okay, in the 40 region. All right. Okay, because that's historically where the RSI was behaving. Okay, not necessary here, right? So for example, let's say it went down to here, this level here. Okay, and then it's into the support level, right? And RSI is near to the 40, and that's where I start to look for buy signal already. Because then generally this is still in an uptrend. All right, so it works perfectly well for M7 because it is in an uptrend. Okay, I won't be covering into Microsoft because Microsoft is one where it's right at the top here. Okay, you wouldn't want to buy. All right, and Microsoft, I already talk about to my community. All right, that Microsoft, we had a level here at about 380, 400, and I already talked about that already when it was at here. Okay, so Microsoft was one of the stocks that I own, and I've already about to sell it. Okay, so I picked up quite a lot at 380 and this level here. All right, also partly because you see that this was a turn, right? Okay, a low, and the RSI was here, right? So this was RSI was here when it turned up. So when RSI was around here again, that's where I starts to pay attention around this level. You see, let me just draw that for you. Okay, so that's where I starts to pick up. All right, and when it finally turned back up, boom, that's where you probably picked Microsoft near to the low. Okay, and of course then was this a strong level? Yes, because you see that was one of the very strong level of Microsoft resistance, a resistance that turns into a support level coupled with the RSI. Okay, and the secret is really, if you want to buy at a cheap price, you have to refer to the week. Okay, now when you go to the day, of course there will be a lot of mixed signals. All right, but when you can go to the week, this is how you can really pick up a very good M7 stocks. Okay, so in other words, right, let's say for example Microsoft can move down. All right, don't care whether you can't move down or whatever. All right, you have to move down. Then you want to watch for Microsoft when it starts to get into this level here. Okay, all right, this level here is what you are interested in, because as I mentioned, the M7 is in an uptrend like this, right? And it works perfectly very well. Okay, all right. So you want to find one, right, that is in an uptrend. You want it to be in an uptrend. That means that fundamentally it is very good, and the M7 will fit this view. Okay. Okay. I will. If I have time, I can talk about Adobe. All right, no problem. All right, but I just want to focus into M7. I'm not saying that you really have to do M7, but because of that M7 is an uptrend, that's why this method so far becomes a very good method for me to pick it up at the low. Okay, all right, okay. Ken, any question here? Okay, so as I mentioned, you don't really need to how to say have fantastic techniques, yeah. The key is also where and which time frame to use. All right, and so for a lot of newbies, maybe you spend a lot of time, right, to go and figure out. But okay, sorry, let me just spend some time to talk about my course, okay? But if you can join my course, okay, so this is where I want to talk about my course. All right, okay. Just spare me like maybe 10 minutes to talk about my course, and then later on you can ask me for the shares that you want me to go through. All right, I'll be happy to go spend some time to go through with them. Because my course comes with the tools, and it comes with a cashback, and also going forward there will be also a lot of automations that's being released in line with my course. That means included in line with my course, right? That's why I really wanted to share with you. Okay, so I have 2 courses running right now. One is Top Plus. If you want to know more about wash and rinse, you can just go to the website and then register for the module 1. Module 1 comes free. Okay, as I said, right, free, you get something, but then you don't get everything. Okay, the best one is to go for the cashback. All right, because both courses have cashback, but tech is the course where most students are I wouldn't say most interested now, right? Because they like it, because then it gives them a lot of flexibilities. It gives them the price levels. Okay, and it comes with a course fee fully refunded. Let me explain how it goes. Okay, but before this, right, if you like whatever that I've presented just now, if you like the style of training, so this is usually how I train my students. Okay, that means that if I see something interesting, or if they want me to talk about a technique, then I will usually share with them how to use it. That means that once you are inside my course, then it is not restricted to just it's not the end of your learning. So we do share a lot of different techniques, a lot of things to watch out for, what to look out for in this market. So the course, number 1, comes with cash refund. Number 2, I have 7 sessions of a week, right, for 1 year period with my students. Okay, meaning that depending on right now what we are seeing, whether this week is a good week to trade, or then what we should be focusing on, then what are the techniques we should be using, all right, then I will talk to them. Okay, so I'm proud to say that we are really growing our students. When you join us, it is not about getting the tips, or it is not about getting the tools. It's also about knowing what to trade. It's about also leaving you a legacy, a skill. So this is what we're going to do, and then minimum 1 year of training. Okay, now as you can see, here will be all the training sessions. Just now on the Wednesday, yes, 12:30 p.m. Singapore time, I just did 1 session, and then in another 3 minutes, another trainer will be doing another sessions with them. Okay, all right. So Dobby, Yes, thanks a lot, Dennis. Thanks a lot. Let me just David. Will I be able to compute for myself the tech levels after the course? Yes, you will. It's not a black box, but you wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, I proven today that the machine is smarter than human. Really, some students completed 45 lots in 2 days. What does 7.5 lots mean? Well, because you need to have 45 lots, right? You need to meet 45 lots. 45 lots. Standard lots, in FX terms. But you can do that when you trade the stocks, when you trade indexes. Okay, just compute it differently. All right, 45 lots in FX in 6 months. So I did like 45 divided by 6. So essentially, you need to trade 7.5 lots. Yeah, in 1 month. But then you can just do like some like what some of the students say, right, completed 45 lots in 2 days. Yeah. How do you do that? Can. Sometimes when I whack 10 lots, can. Yeah. Okay. So it's not a difficult criteria to meet. And then you get 1,005 back. And you learn a method, you get 1,005 back. And also trading view subscription, so total deal of 1,700. Oh, I would really think that is a very, very good deal. Yeah. Okay, now you see, just now when I was saying, right, in the context of M7, it must be an uptrend. Okay, it must be an uptrend. All right. Okay. Now, so, yes, Adobe is generally, if we track the current price, right, it's generally in an uptrend. Okay, as far as what is it here? Now, here, I won't say it's an uptrend. Okay, I won't really say it is in an uptrend. I would say more like it is in a consolidation. Okay, so the higher time frame, okay, the low does point to in the weekly chart, does point to a price rebounding, right? But it is not as significant as what we saw in the M7. Okay, in fact, that what I can see is that this is a downtrend here. What I can see is that this is a hidden divergence, which is another concept that I can cover in the future. Okay, meaning that with this hidden divergence, that price is probably likely going to drop further. That means that as price moved lower, the RSI actually moved higher. So this is a hidden divergence here. So the first context of using it in M7, all right, it's because it is known to be an uptrend. All right, so generally that will work. Okay, but having said that, Adobe isn't that into a downtrend yet. Okay, it's just consolidating, right? So if you can just go to the higher time frame and then look for the oversold, generally it does work okay. All right, but I have to be also responsible to let you know that this is very much into a downtrend. Okay, so based on tech, right? Based on tech, I would be looking for a short when it comes inside here, because this is the known resistance, right? Now, if you go inside the day chart, then my students will know that we have this orange level here, right? Okay, so this orange level here, it's a resistance level. As you can see, these are resistance level. All right, we are able to predict this resistance level, right, when it's here. You see that? Okay, so what tech does is it is predictive in nature. Okay, so because generally this is still a downtrend, right? See, this is a downtrend here. So we have a zone of resistance here. All right, and then you have the RSI approaching overbought, right? And then you have a resistance here, right? So it means that naturally around this region, I'll be looking for a short. Okay, like that, short, because then this is downtrend. So I'm just going to play back for you. We'll be looking for here as a short, because then there's a resistance, and then a good short will happen when RSI hits that oversold and then overbought, right, and then comes back down. So you see, okay, and then comes back down. So see, that becomes a place for you to be looking for a short. All right. So yes, I'll be looking for a short. All right, not looking for a long. Okay. All right. So the trend plays a very important part. Okay, so I want to emphasize again, right, for M7 is generally uptrend. So the method I've just shared with you, right, works very well because it is in an uptrend. Fundamentally, it is the good stocks. All right. I mean, whether Tesla is good or not, right? It's still in an uptrend. I mean, I'm not saying Tesla is not good. I have to be very careful. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Baba. Okay, same thing, right? You have to go into the higher time frame. Now, Baba. Okay, now Baba here is in a downtrend. Okay, but right now, Baba, this stage here, what do you think? Is it in an uptrend, or is it what do you think? First, we have to actually address the trend thing, right? Okay, it is in an starting to become an uptrend. Okay, why do I say that? Take a look here. This is a low, higher low, higher low. So this is a high, about the same high, about the same high. So there is a resistance level here. Okay, then here, what is this as compared to this one? So this is a higher high. So this is a high, right? So this is a higher low, higher low. Okay, now so in this case here, right, I mentioned just now, very important. Okay, we need to have an uptrend. Okay, number one. Number two, right, we need to have a strong level in the weekly chart. Okay, strong level in the weekly chart, right? So this is a level that is being predicted by tech. This is a strong level. So you can see that previously at RSI here, the rebound, because it was a strong level by tech. Okay, and then around here, there was a rebound, right? So the level, okay, the RSI level, it's around here. Okay, in fact, the Baba, I just covered Baba. In my session. I think it was this week. All right, same thing. You see, it's around here. So the RSI is around this level already. And most important, there is an support level. So based on tech, there is a support level here. All right. So yes, it fit the what I've just said just now in terms of find how to buy something cheap. Okay. So Baba was something that I already highlighted this week already. Okay. So last one. Before I end the session, so just to give you my stand is that you want to join a community, you want to join a mentor, you want to join a trainer that can take care of you. It's not only about the method, it's also about whether we are coaching you, whether we grow you, etc., etc. So this is very, very important. So I believe that we are able to do that. So if you want to take the deal and then get the cash back, so this is one of the best deal, and do it before the price increase, because I've been talking about price hike. So we went through the tough time, and ever since I have not, I still haven't hiked price yet. So I've been keeping it really, really very low. Yeah, with the things that we are offering, but with the new EA, there's no way that we can keep it low anymore. Okay, all right. So Palantir. So this is Palantir here. Obviously, it hit into a resistance level. All right. It's doing the bearish divergence. Okay. Now it's showing the bearish divergence. All right. But as I said, right, for divergence, right, very much it has to be confirmed by price. That, I mean, you can't just let it like keep bearish divergence and then, you know, it doesn't confirm by price. So at this moment, I'm not too sure whether the question to ask of Palantir, what is the question? Okay, but as far as what the stock is here, it's very much in an uptrend. It's in an uptrend. Okay, so the way to apply this is that, take a look, this is the predicted support level. Okay, so this predicted support level, right, it's where we are aiming to enter again. That means that if price is to come down, you want to look for RSI into the oversold region here. Okay, so this is what is happening in the day time frame. All right, so this is a pretty good level. All right, but when you go to the week, there is really nothing much, because it is not in the oversold. So far, this is the oversold region for RSI. Okay, so you don't want to monitor into the lower level. You want to monitor into this region here. All right, and then it's in the middle. So if you, if you want to buy, you have to wait for it to come back down. Okay, it's not there yet. Yeah, but you probably might want to consider from the day. All right, this level here. I'm just waiting to see what happened to this level. So if you're asking me whether you can short, well, even if the RSI is at the top, you still need a confirmation with the price. Okay, so I will usually say that if this is my lesson, I will usually say we wait for wash and rinse. Okay, we wait for wash and rinse. Take profit. For me, right? You see, right? What is happening right now is that it hasn't broken below a support level yet. That means that it hasn't broken. This was the resistance level. It broke out, right? So in fact here, so this becomes a support level. So it hasn't really broken downwards to say that it is bearish. All right. So for us, we have a rule. Our rule is when certain happens, then we will do something about it. So as far as what I'm concerned, it hasn't reached our rule yet. Yeah. So I think it's very difficult to answer whether it can take profit, but it's not below it. Yeah. A cap, is it okay for non-Singaporeans? Yes, it is very okay for non-Singaporeans. As I always say, right? For any broker, whether it's Singapore broker, okay, don't fund too much. Fund just enough. Okay, so the minimum funding for a cap that you need to take the deal is 7,000. And one thing, right? If you want to have the extra 6 months of tag, remember to pay via internet bank transfer or pay now for Singaporeans. If you're overseas, let us know, then we will advise you on how to pay. Okay, all right. Unfortunately, I don't have much time already because my other students needs to go for their lesson. All right, so I end here, but I have one more session. Okay, the other session is on the 26th. I have not confirmed whether it's on 26th or it might be shifted because I'm inviting my old-time students that's with me for at least 15 years, 1-5. Okay, at least 15 years, right? He's right now in Perth. Okay, to share how he gained confidence, to share the journey. All right. I figure out that I might not be the best person to share because then sometimes I've been trading for a long time, right? I cannot feel what you are feeling sometimes. I try to understand what you are feeling, but I think that somehow I might not be able to. So I thought that when I speak to them, they can share with me how I can improve the training, how we can improve ourselves. So that's why I really love to speak to them. Okay. As far as Palantir is concerned, it hasn't washed and rinsed yet on the day chart. Yes, it did on the day chart yesterday, but it's not a significant one. You probably, because in this uptrending stock, you probably need a weekly wash and rinse. Yeah.